Happy Namaste, beautiful beings. Welcome back. We are going to be continuing our video from where we left off, and the previous video was on Buddha Purnima and its influence on each one of us, and how we can use Lord Buddha's teachings that he has worked on lifetimes together on for to release ourselves from suffering and bondage as well. Okay, this is possible to be done by each one of us, not just for spiritual aspirants. So please take the time out and watch the previous video, because a lot of the topic from the previous video is interlinked with whatever we're going to cover today. All right, so do watch it if you haven't already. Now, before we begin, let's just invoke for divine blessings and prayer, so that we'll have a short prayer, because it'll help me channel and help you receive this transmission better. And this transmission, I hope that it comes in with the least amount of distortion, which is why we do a little bit of prayer every time we sit in for sessions or we sit for these videos. It just helps that. Okay, so just close your eyes, relax your body, and bring all of your awareness into this present moment. Exhale deeply, releasing anything that you were carrying that no longer serves to be released. And bring back your breath into your body, gently and deeply, with love, with awareness of this present moment and where you are. And leave it, and also set an intention of your liking for whatever is to be shared during this time. May it be received with love. That is my intention. All right. Just listen to the prayer. You can make your own prayer of your liking. To the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, to all the spiritual elders, holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, spiritual helpers, first name to our teachers, Grand Master Choa, Lord Mahaguruji Mailing, Pandit Sri Ram Sharma, Acharya Ji, Shivji, Mataji, Babaji, and all the pre-great benevolent beings, our higher self, spirit guides, ancestors, spirit animals, we humbly invoke thee for your divine light, divine love, mercy, for your soothing, healing, miraculous energies, for your wisdom, for divine oneness, for illumination, for consciousness, with thanks and with full faith. So be it. Slowly and gently, you can open your eyes with a big, big smile. Okay, so I'd like to start off with what we're going to do today. Today we're going to be covering the Eightfold Path that was left from the last video. As I had mentioned, I'll be covering it today. And today I'll be covering 4 of the points from the Eightfold Path and be explaining it in detail. And by the end of this, we will be meditating and practicing what we have learned as well. All right. It is quite a remarkable journey to have learned the Eightfold Path, specifically speaking about me. For me, it has actually been quite a revolution to learn these teachings and to practice them in my life, and to be able to hold on to some of these teachings in times of, in difficult times. It's come in really handy, but I am no expert. I have also had to keep, revisiting these teachings and keep relearning them. And I have learned it from my teacher, Master Ko, whose teacher is Grand Master Choa, and he is the founder of pranic healing. All right. So this is more like a translation of the teacher himself, and it's just an elaboration of Lord Buddha's teaching himself. Okay. Now, coming on to what are these 4 points. The first point is right viewpoint, and it is also what Master Choa says, right perception. Okay, and the second one is right thoughts, right words, and then the last one is right action. All right, it is very simple that without the first one, the rest is kind of completely, on their own. Okay, we'll have to really fight through to make this happen without this first one. Okay, which is what happens in our day-to-day life, and individually we must have experienced this. We try to change our thoughts, change our thinking, but it becomes really difficult. And this is why, because the first part of this is right viewpoint. Without getting this done, if we jump into right thoughts, and if you want to, like, create a certain way of thinking, we want to think positively, then it is more about willpower, but we kind of like come back, right? We slack again because this is not attended. All right, and if we have this one down, right, like if we really practice right viewpoint, then the rest comes in very easily. So make sure that you understand right viewpoint properly and practice it. And if you have any questions, please do write below in the comment section. I would be really happy to address it, and it will also come in handy for other people who are in the same path. So okay, now speaking about right viewpoint, it is the way we see things. All right, casually speaking, you would just think about, okay, we're supposed to look at things properly or well. Not so much, it's more about who is looking at these things that are happening. What happens with situations and occurrences, events, problems, or whatever you might call it in our life, is that when they happen to us, we start looking at them only from our perception, from our view, right? And hence we say we are right and the other person is wrong. And it becomes very difficult to work with this energy that I am right, you are wrong. With this energy, we cannot really solve anything. Okay, but when we have right viewpoint and when we know who we are, we don't come from this place. Okay, the place that we come from is how do we solve this. And because of this, because we come from this place, it becomes easy to solve it. Okay, it does not, it no longer becomes I am right and you're wrong. It becomes, okay, like, where can I take responsibility, what can I do about this, right? And how can we come to the same page? And that is how we can solve things, right? We can solve a certain space, we can come to a certain space of understanding with one another. But the thing that we miss out on is this right viewpoint. And how do we come to this right viewpoint is through understanding that we are not the situation, we are not these thoughts, these emotions that are coming into play. Okay, we are the one witnessing, observing the situation. The moment we have this understanding that we are just observing and this situation is the one which is being observed, then it becomes simpler for us to navigate through the situation. Now, for example, if you have a friend, right, or a colleague, you might have already been through this experience, friend, colleague, whosoever, they come to you for suggestions about some problem that they are facing. Okay, it's very critical, it's too much for them to handle, so they ask for your suggestions. And for you, it is like so simple, and it just occurs to you like a no-brainer, right? Like, of course, you can just do this and it'll get solved, right? Why is that person is finding it so difficult, and for you it's just so simple? Whereas in the same situation, if you were going through that problem, you would be in a situation where it would be like completely almost impossible for you to, like, have this solved. Whereas for the third person, it would be something that they would actually be able to see through, they can actually come out of, right? They would see through what next step you can do to make this better, the situation better. Why is that? Both of these things are linked with one thing, which is this situation that is happening is outside of me, right? Is when we are able to come up with solutions. Master Ko puts this in a way where he says that, we swim in mud, right? In the muck, right? And because we are swimming in the mud, we are unable to see outside of it. And most of us are trapped in that mud. And that mud is nothing but your thoughts and your emotions. These thoughts and emotions, when we get emotionally and mentally involved in a certain thing to extent that we are indulged completely in it, we forget that there is something, there is life out of the situation also. And in that moment, we are stuck there. Okay, so it's a very good analogy that he gives, that swimming in the mud. When you're swimming in the mud, it's difficult to have right viewpoint. Okay, and this becomes easier when you understand that you are the observer, and whatever that is happening is just the point of observation. It's observed, it's a phenomena, it will change. Okay, and this comes with the understand that everything that is happening outside of the eye. All right. And yeah, it comes down to the same thing which was already discussed in the previous video, which is I am not this body, I am not these emotions, I am not these thoughts, I'm not even this mind, right? Now, when we understand this and we have the right viewpoint, which is a neutral way of looking at things, nothing to do with our own biases and prejudices, then we move into right thoughts. Okay. When it comes to right thoughts, it's easy to say think good and uplifting thoughts, be positive, and all of this. We have heard of this, right? But why is it so difficult to cultivate that? Because we haven't had that base, which was the right viewpoint. Immediately when you understand that you and the situation is separate, what happens is you have breathing space now. Okay, and this breathing space will help us make better decisions, which means better decision even with our thoughts. Okay, there's a lot of thoughts that we are surrounded by. Some of them are not even ours. Okay, but every time that we have a thought, we are the ones who are giving it permission and allowing it to influence us. Okay, we are giving it power, and this power is what we call belief. Okay, believing in a certain thought. So thoughts, there are like 60,000 thoughts is just moving about, right? And you are just the witness. Okay, you are the one choosing which thought gets how much percentage of your energy. Okay, and whenever you pay attention to a certain thought, you are immediately giving it energy. Wherever attention goes, energy flows, right? You must have heard of this. So as soon as that happens, it is up to you, your choice, whether you like or you want this thought or you don't want this thought. Okay, whether this thought is helpful or it's not helpful. Now, how to do this is to come back to who is the one who is witnessing these thoughts, again to the I. Okay, I am not these thoughts, so I can choose and pick exactly what I want, and I can let go, okay, of what I don't. It's very simple to be, obviously, when speaking, it's easy said than done, okay? But it is possible, and it is possible. I want to share with you an example how it is possible. It is because of Viktor Frankl, okay? This is an example which even Master Choa gives. So, Viktor Frankl was a person who was in a concentration camp, and his whole family was sent to the concentration camp. Every one of them didn't make it. Okay, they passed away in the concentration camp, but except for him, he was the sole survivor. And when he came out, you would expect this person to be like morbid, right? Like completely off the hook, like who doesn't want to live anymore, or he's in the edge, he's always irritated, or something of that sort. You would expect that. But Viktor Frankl was a very positive person, a very, he had a lot of good and uplifting thoughts, and he was just in general a very positive person. And when asked how is this possible for him after what he's been through, he said that there is a gap between the stimulus and the response, right? And in this gap, he was to choose whether he wants to be happy or miserable. And every time that happens, he chooses happy. It's that simple. So, what he meant was that every time we have these stimulus, which is the event that is happening, right? Like some troublesome event, let's imagine, that is happening in your life, right? In this moment, when that's happening, or someone is like, you're going through something something difficult with another person. When this is happening, you have a choice on how to respond to it, right? There are thoughts running in your head at that moment, but there's the slight gap, if you've noticed, before you use that thought. Like for example, before the thought comes that, oh, this is going to be worse than, like, worse than it looks like, and it's going to get even more worse, right? This is a thought, let's say. Now if I choose that thought, I am subscribing to being miserable at that moment. But I do have a gap, right? There's like this tiny gap where I'm like able to see that this thought is coming, right? That it's going to get worse. And then there is another thought which is coming, which says it's going to get better, right? But this gap allows me to choose between these two. But what happens is, habitually, what we do is we just grab onto this first thought that comes in, like this is going to get worse. What will happen then? We immediately get into that zone, that it is going to get worse, and we power that, and then followed by thoughts is obviously words and then actions. So that is how the series goes. Before this even happens, if you can witness that thought as it is, as a thought, not as my thought, but as a thought, then you'll be able to wait, or direct yourself towards a thought that you would like rather, or you would want rather, and you can choose amongst these two whether you want to be happy or you want to be miserable. Again, up to you. So he wasn't a victim of his circumstance, right? He chose better for himself with each and every thought that came by, not just with each and every day or each and every moment or each and every action. It was each and every thought, even, which made him this kind of person. And if it is possible for Viktor Frankl, being in a concentration camp and having your family, like, be in that miserable situation and just being the sole survivor, if he can have positive thoughts and if he can inculcate this, then any one of us can. And this is a story for us to be inspired from. It's not to demean anyone's situation. Everyone's situation has a certain amount of pain, has a certain amount of sadness to it, but it is going to be there as long as we allow it to, because the situation happens in a blip. So the moment we understand that there is this gap, I can choose better, then that is your choice. That is up to you. You still do have the power, and this you realize when you know who you are. Okay? It goes without saying, you need discernment for this. You need to be able to gauge, right? You need to have this intelligence, this intelligent evaluation that can gauge what is going to help you and what is not as well. Okay, if you think that you're totally doomed and your life is completely ending, then you cannot feel positive, right? And that is why you need to be able to change or shift your viewpoint. If you are already feeling that this is how your life is going to be, then the byproduct of it will be the words and the actions. But if you choose to go back to the viewpoint and change that, right, then you understand that the byproduct of it will be different, and you are choosing better for yourself. For example, when some things are not going great, instead of everything is going to hell, instead of saying this, if we say that things are not ideal at this moment, it just lifts up a little bit of that energy, right? Because you understand this, you say, let me then try thinking of what's good rather than what's not at this moment, even at this moment. And trust me, in no matter what situation, you will find something good if you're looking for it. If you look for the bad, you will find plenty. If you look for the good, you will still find that too. Okay, every situation has everything in it. So it's up to us. So this is what right thoughts is, that we can get ourselves out of that mud and see through a better way. And when we see through a better way, we think also through that, through that way of thinking. All right. Right thinking also means just because you wouldn't do something to someone else because your character is a certain way doesn't mean that that person won't do it to you. Okay, right thinking also is applicable in this way, which means that you do not project your way of being onto another person and expect that person to show up for you in the same way as you do. Okay, you are discerning, you analyze, okay, you experiment, and then you conclude. Lord Buddha says that don't believe things just because the scripture says so. Don't believe things just because tradition says so, or religion says so, or your parents say so, or whatever. You always need to experiment, analyze, experiment, and conclude. Draw your own conclusions. And he also goes on further to say, don't believe just because I say so. Right? And he is Lord Buddha, he's an enlightened being, and he's saying, do not even just blindly trust me. So, right thoughts is to be discerning that way. All right. And good news is that even if you do this, right, you will obviously cross through whatever difficult times that you come across. You will cross through it with ease. But the other good news is, even if you don't, then eventually the best teacher is there, which will teach us, which is pain or suffering. Okay, so it's the long way or the shortcut way, whichever way you would like, right? And all these teachers that are there are until now have been like that stepping stone for us to overcome certain mistakes that they have already learned through, and for us to just take that ladder and step ahead. Okay, but if we want to figure it out by ourselves, we are more than welcome to. And Lord Buddha himself says that, experiment with it, experiment, 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 and then conclude by yourself. Okay. So this is not for you to just take it in and say, yeah, this is the only way. This is for you to apply and validate in your own life. All right. So that is also right thought right there. Okay. Now, next thing is right speech. Right speech is like, okay, so Master Choa has put it in this way, and I think there is some saint or someone, okay, who has told us, okay, when you are speaking, let it pass through three doors. Okay, first is it true? Second is it useful and necessary? Third is it kind and not hurtful? The moment it passes through these three doors, it's good to speak it out, it's good to express. Now, for example, just because it is true doesn't mean it's always necessary, right? So, like, you have a friend and he's wearing this shirt for his interview, and the shirt looks quite colorful, and it has all these prints, and it's just not a suitable attire for the interview, let's just say that. Okay, and you are looking at it and you're like, ew, what is this yucky shirt that you're wearing, right? Like, immediately that is not right speech. You see, right speech is not hurtful, it is kind, right? So then you wait. Okay, you go through the second door. Is it useful and necessary? If he goes with this shirt to his interview, of course he's not going to get the job, maybe, or it's not going to look good for him, right? So it is useful, right, at that moment for you to tell him that, dude, like, I think this is not appropriate. So you can say it in this way, which is kind and not hurtful, that this is not appropriate, rather than saying that, ew, it's an ugly shirt, and demeaning the whole attire and making him feel like worse. So this is what is right speech. Okay, it's very simple. And finally, right action is, again, to avoid physical injury to another. It's to also avoid physical and material injury, which means, like, you are working, you're in your office environment, and your office environment has all these stationary items just there. Nobody's using it, but there's a lot of it. So you take it back home and you share it with your family and all of them. In this moment, what happens is you are doing material injury, and it will come back to you in a different way, where your whatever material possession you have would also, be taken for granted by someone, or if you have destroyed any kind of equipment there, then your equipments will be destroyed, and so on and so forth. So rather than going through that line of suffering, you can stop it right here by understanding that, hey, is this like, am I like materially injuring anyone's product, or am I like, taking credit for someone else's hard work? When you understand that, you you can, stop this action and move into rightful action. Okay, it also includes the sin of inaction. Okay, which means when you're supposed to do something and you don't do it, right? We all have been there, done that. But when we do this, we are not performing our rightful action. Okay, and the other thing is to be courteous and kind, just like what it was for speech, it is for thoughts, to be kind in your thoughts as well, and to do service and charity. This is rightful action. And it also asks of us to balance whatever kindness we have with severity as well. Okay, for example, when kids are like, not behaving themselves, we can be kind with them, but sometimes kindness don't doesn't work. Okay, so then we have to take the uh, we need to be a little strict. So just because we have to be strict doesn't mean we start beating them up as well, right? So we need to balance this too. Okay, kindness and severity, and the same thing applies for any other person. Like, you are a kind person, but when it comes to people just stepping all over you, and you have to stand up for yourself at that moment. So again, balancing kindness with severity. Okay, that would be a rightful action. If you are just someone who's like, yeah, you can walk all over me, it's fine, I'm just too kind for this world, then that is in your part not a right action anyway. Okay, so that's that, and we are done. And now we get into practically utilizing this. This would require you to just relax yourself, close your eyes, and be ready for the meditation, because this meditation will take us through these 4 points as well. Okay, this is again a meditation by Master Choa, and we begin this meditation with I am affirmations. So please put your hands by your heart, namaste position, like so. Close your eyes and deeply inhale and exhale. You've already done the prayer, so come back to just realizing all of that which has been shared. You don't have to by heart them, but just listening to this helps you incorporate some of these points in your day-to-day life. So just inhale and exhale. Allow that to just sink in, that this information be a part of you in the coming days, in the coming weeks. And Lord Buddha's teachings illuminate our path ahead. I would like for you to repeat after me, and hold or give a pause after every affirmation that I say. Just listen carefully. Take deep breaths in through your belly, out through your mouth. Witness how you view the viewpoint or the perspective that you carry about your life at the moment, and in what ways is it serving you or not serving you. It can be about your life, or it can be about any situation that occurs in your mind at the moment. And just see if this viewpoint that you're carrying is serving you. If it isn't, Go back to becoming the third person or the observer, that soul that you are, beyond this role that you have taken on. And notice both of the positives and the negatives of the situation, and see everything for what it really is. Holding a neutral viewpoint, an unbiased viewpoint. Seeing your own role in this perspective, informing this viewpoint. Now move into what thoughts it created and see in what ways you could have cultivated discernment. What thoughts would you like to incorporate now as you understand this viewpoint better? And what words and what actions would follow these thoughts after? It is not so much a mental process as it is just a witnessing process. Just let yourself be directed and allow these scenes to just play by themselves. Let them play out. As the soul always knows, the all-knowing soul directs you to what serves you, creating space, releasing attachments, releasing suffering of any kind. Breathe in deeply and breathe out deeply. Make space for this change. Bring your hands out front in blessing position. Imagine Mother Earth in the size of a small ball in front of you. And just a gist of Master Choa Twin Heart Meditation. We allow the energy to move through us. We allow the consciousness to move freely through us. As we do this, the understanding also comes in freely and easily through us. May Mother Earth be blessed with divine light, divine love, and divine power. The divine light is filled with wisdom, with understanding, with clarity. The divine love is filled with compassion, with forgiveness wherever required, whosoever requires it on earth. It also instills hope and divine power, instilling the strength to do what is right for ourselves and for all those who are involved. Blessings be to Mother Earth. All those people, all those places that are going through difficult times, bless them with the same divine light, divine love, and divine power. May every person, every being on Mother Earth be healed, be blessed. May Mother Earth be healed, be blessed, regenerated and revitalized. Feel this energy and consciousness course through you onto Mother Earth. Golden light completely blanketing Mother Earth, dissolving any darkness, ignorance of any kind, unconsciousness, dissolving all hatred, dissolving anger, pain, and suffering, assisting each and every being on Mother Earth towards liberation, liberation, liberation. May all be healed, regenerated, and revitalized. Blessings be to Mother Earth. Om Amin, Amin, Tathastu. Take a deep breath in. Allow your awareness to move through your spine, into your crown, top of your head. And as you exhale, allow it to come down. Om Amin, Amin, Tathastu. Sarve Bhantu Sukhinaः, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashyap. The old narratives, old viewpoints, old perspectives are all being dissolved, released out of you. New perspective, new viewpoints, new thoughts, new words, followed by immense willpower and energy and strength to support these new actions, entering through your crown, reaching into each and every part of your body. Tathast. Slowly and gently open your eyes with a big, big smile. Thank you so much, beautiful souls, for joining me for on this occasion of Buddha Purnima and going through the Lord Buddha's teachings together and practicing this meditation together. It was an honor to be here with you, sharing this space, and would love to hear from you. Please type in the comments below if you had any difficulties, if you had any questions occur to you, if you had some sort of an insight that came through. I would love to hear what happened during this meditation for you. Also, please do like and subscribe and share this video with whosoever would benefit out of this. And I would love to see you in the next video as well. Thank you for tuning in, and happy Buddha Purnima. Atma Namaste.